I love that you guys said voice actor extraordinaire. I appreciate that. Voice acting is not actually my main thing in this industry. I am an audio engineer, so I do recording, editing, mixing, and mastering, and I've done all that for anime, for music, for video games, for TV and movies.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Movement Radio. I am Chip Hazard,
And I am Talon Williams.
and today we are joined by a special guest, uh, voice actor extraordinaire, audio recording engineer extraordinaire. Um, there's so much to him. We are joined by the great Geoff Bisente. Jeff, how are you today?
Good guys, how are you?
We're doing great, man.
Fantastic.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Happy to be back, or happy to be here, and happy to be back. I just got back from Hawaii, and I'm sure anybody who can see in it right now. I'm healing a new tattoo, and it is
Oh,
if
nice.
I kind of like squeak to myself, it's because my hand's really inflamed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's awesome.
It does look good though. It really
Thank
does look
you.
good.
Yeah.
Did you get it done old school style with the picks and everything like that?
No, I almost wish, but at this was 7 hours. I wouldn't want 7 hours of that.
Oh. I've watched videos of people getting it done traditional style, and I'm like, there's no way. Like
No.
I have a half sleeve here and a half sleeve here, and I'm just like, there's no way I would pass
No.
out.
My main Samoan piece that I would love to get is it has to be traditional. It's the armor, but
Mm.
my tattooist said he's like, bro, yours is gonna be like 150 hours. I'm like, no.
Oh, he's like, no, no, no,
No.
not happening. Um, so anyway, so for those who don't know, who is Geoff Bisente?
I love that you guys said voice actor extraordinaire. I appreciate that. Voice acting is not actually my main thing in this industry. I am an audio engineer, so I do recording, editing, mixing, and mastering. And I've done all that for anime, for music, for video games, for TV and movies. I'm also a director. I've done some writing. I am a singer and songwriter, and I have been blessed with the ability to have lent my voice to some things as well. But yeah, I'm mainly an engineer and director, and I love it. I love this job. Um, and I'm also an amateur strongman.
Ooh.
I've worked in and around the fitness industry for maybe the past 5, 7 years, and an aspiring chef. I'm looking to start a food truck within the next couple years.
Hey,
See, now I'm gonna have to come visit you. You get that
yeah.
food
I
truck
will
going.
I
Hey,
will feed you if you come to town.
I,
hey. We do want to come to California eventually.
yes.
Boys.
So Chip asked the question, "Who are you?" I'm going to ask the question, "Who were you before you got into the audio engineering, before you got into the music, the anime, and all this sort of stuff? Where did it all begin for you, and what sparked your interest in wanting to be in this industry?"
So I have a very funny and almost very stereotypical entrance into entertainment as a whole. Growing up, I was very much into science. I loved science. My first year into junior high, I took three different science classes at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
And it kind of went on like that. I really wanted to go into biology. I was really getting into it, and then someone gave me Metallica's Black album, and
Yep.
it just,
The best one.
Yeah.
Yes.
and then I just kind of started, falling down that little rabbit hole. All of a sudden, I was asking my mom for a guitar for Christmas. I took the guitar class in high school. I was playing sports. I stopped that, and it spiraled into me going to music school. I have degrees in music education with an emphasis in performance and vocals, as well as a certificate in audio engineering with an emphasis in post production.
Okay.
Uh,
Awesome.
it was, I was, I was doing all this. I wanted to be a touring musician. I wanted to do this, that, and the other. I fell in love with production, and in college, we were able to get placed into a studio for an internship. And the studio that I'm at now, Central Command Studios, is pretty close to where I live in town. And, college kid broke, you don't have a car, so I was able to bike here on a pretty daily basis. And I ended up just being able to stick around. Um, Little did I know, the owner, Jason Charles Miller, was not only a musician, but he's also a voice actor. And I went from just someone who was like, I like anime, I love watching anime, to, oh, hey, Funimation is coming in for this movie from a show that was done, I hear, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, hold on, what's happening? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they're just like, hey, are you ready? You're going to take over for the session. And I'm just like, oh, no, I am currently peeing my pants. Because my very first anime session was with Travis Willingham, and Chris Bevins is my director.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, ah! Ah!
Oh, what was that first session? What kind of were you doing in that first session? You're kind of jumping in, getting your feet wet in the anime industry
Yeah.
as a recording engineer. So how does that kind of work, that first one?
So up until I was told I was subbing in, I would shadow the uh, my senior engineer. I would see his technique. I would see what has to be done because between a music session and a dubbing session or a video game session, they all are very compartmentalized in my brain now. But before then, I was just like, you just put them like Tetris pieces so that they're not in the way. Um, and just try and make sure that Chris doesn't yell at me again. Uh, but I was taking notes, making sure, when we're recording, we want things to be at certain levels so that everyone's even, and it goes to mix really nicely. And I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be really cool to practice on my own. But that just didn't happen. And I'm just like looking at my notes and just like, this is the right way, right? And I was just like, come on, hurry up, let's go. And I'm just like, I'm trying, please, no. And nowadays, I've I've just been I'm very proficient now, thankfully, and it's something that I absolutely adore doing.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking at your IMDb, and according to your IMDb, is that you have like 78 ADR engineer credits to your name.
It's about
Um,
it's less than half, at least on animes.
yeah,
I have at least 130 to 150 animes alone that I've worked.
yeah, yeah. I'm only giving you what IMDb has.
Oh
Like you,
yeah,
yeah, it's got
yeah,
Dr. Stone, The Devil is a Part-Timer, Kuma Kuma, Kuma Bear,
that was a
Chip is
fun
three
one.
Kumas, Trigun Stampede, which if I'm not mistaken, let me if I can go down right here back here to the bottom. Uh, you also directed one called Super Cub.
Super Cub is one of the absolute sweetest slice of life shows I've ever watched.
Okay.
I was the casting director. Jennifer Losi, one of the most amazing, hardworking people in this industry, was my project manager. So I was the casting director, the director, engineer, edit, mix, master, engineer, as well as I got to voice a couple little things in it. So that
Yeah.
entire show was basically me, and I'm obscenely proud of it. If you guys haven't seen it, if you want just a feel good, this is like it's beautifully done with the art, but super simple show. That one's super close to my heart.
I'm gonna
Uh,
definitely check it out. It's on the list now.
Definitely putting it on the list.
Yep.
I'm definitely gonna check that one out. It
Yeah.
See,
sounds really cool.
it is now at the end of about 24 other animes that I have to get into.
Same, honestly.
Yeah.
Half those shows that you even listed so far, I haven't even gotten around to watching yet.
Oh, okay.
I I was gonna ask how much anime do you actually get to watch nowadays? Growing up an anime fan, as you said, but now being in the industry and uh, working as a director and audio engineer for all of these shows, how much time do you have?
It it's partly not the times because when I do go home, I do ingest a lot of media to relax with. But um, if you're, a lot of people who are in the production side will tell you, anime is one of the last things I want to do when I come home after a long day of hearing beep beep beep, because then I'm gonna hear it in my shows, and I do. And the worst thing
Ah.
about it is I cursed myself with it, but I made it my ringtone.
Oh my goodness.
So it will not only always make me know that I'm not gonna miss a that I'm not gonna miss a text, but an actor's gonna hear it and they're gonna freak out because it's in the wild.
That's
Man.
awesome.
So
I
you just be sitting in a cafe or something in downtown Los Angeles, and all you hear is beep, beep, beep. And like you got 15 people looking around like, oh, am I supposed to say something? What happened? What's going on?
it's just someone's just gonna start going ah. uh, but I no I have mainly been going after shows that I have zero attachment to, that I just have not, which luckily nowadays is a lot more, because there's so much to watch. But I just finished Kaiju number 8, and that's phenomenal. I have one gripe about Kaiju number 8, and that's
Okay.
because someone said nuclear. And I literally, I was putting away laundry in my chair. I heard it, and I turned, and I slammed on my keyboard. I'm like, ah!
Well, let's just say if that's the only gripe,
Yeah.
it's got to be a pretty good show.
Yeah.
It's so fun, and Nazi, who plays the main guy, is such a talented actor, and he plays like action and stupid really well. Which in real life, when we're hanging out, that's all we are, is some like low form of action, then all stupid.
I I'm right there.
I think
I,
you just
I'm
described Movement Radio in that whole sentence right there.
yeah.
So okay, but you did say what would you say some of your favorites were growing up though? Because you did say you were a fan of anime growing up. What
Yeah.
show got you into anime, like, and got you wanting to watch it more?
Ones that stick in my head, because I mean, everyone will say they had some exposure to like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, those are great. I stopped watching Dragon Ball after like the Namek saga.
Okay.
I was just like, these guys are their fights take forever. I can't do this. Like, I love a story, but
Move it along. Yeah.
um, Ronin Warriors was a big one for me. And just kind of honestly, nowadays I can't even remember because a lot of them are just. I see the art form, especially Eastern shows, but it was a lot of American cartoons that made me want to get into entertainment, like SWAT Cats.
Oh, oh, you
Every
spoke to my
time,
heart on that one.
every time someone says SWAT Cats, I'm like that. is such an anime.
It really is.
And it's because it's like, I mean, come on, that's a beautiful show.
Yes.
Um, Beast Wars and a lot of Transformers stuff really got me, especially watching Scott McNeil talk about like how he would like put markers on the script, so he would go talking from as Waspinator into Rat Trap into Dinobot all in the same take, and I'm just like that's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it wasn't until probably teenage years into college when I was getting into production, where I was just like, I wonder how like shows are even done. Um, and we had a video game video game audio class in college, and that was really cool to kind of see how different that was comparatively to vocals being recorded for a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was you also a big gamer growing up as well?
I I will say this: my I, the last time I owned a console was a PS2 Slim.
Okay.
I love watching my friends play video games. I'm not that great when it comes to console games. I'm just like, what happened? Who's there? I don't want to play this anymore. Can you play it? I'll watch it. But I've had every iteration of the Game Boy because it helps me be casual with it. I can close it, put it away, come back 3 months later. I know exactly where I am.
Right.
So like every Pokemon game, every Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons game, like I've played those and I love those. The only game outside of that like took my life by storm was the Last of Us.
Mm.
Mm,
Um, so
such a beautiful game too.
yeah, oh my
Yeah.
god. I have like I went every time that game had a remastering, and then the whole rebuild, I went right back to it. Same thing for like the Harvest Moon games. A few of them were remade. Story of Seasons games for Switch, and I got those. I love those. Most of the Pokemon remakes I got too, because for nostalgia. But it takes a lot for me to dive into a video game.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I would correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume as kind of an audio engineer, like when you're playing a game or watching something, you like subconsciously you're hearing how the engineers put these things together, and you're like, oh, that that's a cool little trick there, or maybe should have done this there. Do you do that?
Video games, no. Video games, I actively try and turn my brain off to, and really just enjoy. When it comes to movies and television, though, um, I have a director friend who is not in like he's not like anime video game, but he's one of our film director friends that I've worked with for years, and he taught me this cool thing: is he will watch a movie with no visuals. Like he'll put on the movie, but it will be on another screen or minimized, and he'll listen to it, and he'll in his mind as he's doing it has to picture how the shot is and how it's composed and all these other things. And I'm
Hmm.
like, that sounds really cool. I'm going to do the complete opposite, where I'll watch a video and I'll just either mute it or do something else, and then I'm just like watching it, and I'm rebuilding the soundscape in my mind, uh, and how to do it, and like, oh, how would he? Oh, and then if I'm just watching a movie itself, I'll be like, oh, how did he make that sound effect? How did that vocal effect get made? Kind of playing with, um, just kind of figuring how to like do things from scratch if it wasn't like a pre-made effect or something like that. Um, that was something I also we they also had us do in school, where they would tell us, okay, here's a 2-minute clip from a movie, recreate it, recreate everything. and that's your
Oh,
assignment.
Oh wow.
So like for one of them, it was a scene from The Fifth Element. It started with the McDonald's thing, and then ends with like them at the end of the car chase.
okay.
Okay.
And so all the little things of like all the zooming cars, they fade into the music, like the the little microphone effects, even the voice acting for it all. Like you had to redo every little thing.
That's
And it
crazy.
was one of the it was it was amazing. I fell in love with it. But it was so meticulous because sometimes you're just like, did I get that one? Do I have to? Oh no, but what about this one? Because there's a little guy on the left side. He needs to, he needs a sound too. Even though I don't remember if there was any kind of sound for him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very interesting the way you. I'm sorry, Chip. What were you gonna say?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I won't forget mine. Mine's
Okay. Um, you can definitely when you talk about this, you can definitely hear the passion in the voice and the love that you have for your craft. That being said, though, let me ask you kind of a serious question here because over the course of the last several years, and we've asked many voice actors and other people about this as well, with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence involved in not just the animation industry, but also in music and a couple of other um, entities in the world of entertainment. What is your honest opinion about the usage of artificial intelligence in the entertainment industry?
If you are a small content creator and you're just like you're kind of making something, you don't know what to do, you can't do it yourself, the possible openness to using AI is kind of cool. Because what if you're like playing around and like you're learning how to do like a mashup thing and you want to do this, that, and the other, to be like a part of your video, to be a part of the content you're creating. I think as a tool it's cool, but as a professional, um, it's one of it really shows that, if anybody uses it, really shows how little they care about the creative process. The creative process, it's kind of like between, if I was to compare things to like, oh, the scene in Terminator 2 when they're pulling out the Terminator's chip to switch it on to read and write mode, so that he can start learning things from Sarah and John. That whole thing, that whole scene was done with no CG. They used two different copies, like, two different groups of people to mimic each other's movements. That whole creative process, someone thought to just take Linda Hamilton's twin sister and have her play opposite to her. As opposed to now for like an Avengers movie, well, they're just like, we'll just CG and de-age you and do this, that, and the other. And while like the technology's cool, I feel a little cheapened. Every time I watch a movie now that is older or pays so much respect to practical effects, it means so much more to me. When I see CG stuff, I'm like, cool, it's pretty, but it's not really worth anything. And that comparatively to me is, doing it with a real person, a real composer, a real this, that, or the other, as opposed to having like an AI database go, there's your cake.
There's your
uh,
cake.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%. And I have often said more recently that once you take the art away from the artist, it's no longer art.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell the same people the thing with food, like um, with like slow cooked barbecue is two kind of stages. Creating the recipe is art. Recreating that every day as perfectly as you did the first time is science. but it's still derived from art.
I like that.
I do.
I like that.
I'm hungry now,
Oh,
but yeah, I like it.
But like it's such a simple concept that you're like, yeah, you still have that human element. You
mhm.
still have the possibility of something going wrong, but you have the exact blueprint to make it perfect. And like you said, you take the art away from the artist, you take the person away from the barbecue, and you just have a machine dumping things on, dressing up the brisket, and then throwing it into, a machine fed smoker, and you're like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I would much rather have like I have some neighbors, and a couple of times a year they get a big pig and they bury it in the ground and smoke it, and
Yeah.
man, it is some of the best barbecue I've ever had. And it's like, yeah, you could probably like build a machine that would do that, but is it gonna be as good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. And that's like, I mean, another example of this is that, and it might be a weird example, and please forgive me if it is a weird example, but like I would love, like, I would love to have a bowl of my mama's chicken and dumplings, you know,
Yes.
but my mama's not here no more. She died back in 2022. So I will never, yeah, I could make chicken and dumplings, or I could go to the grocery store and get the Campbell's chicken and dumpling soup that comes in a can, but it ain't the same.
Yeah.
There's the missing ingredient in this chicken and dumplings is love,
It's yeah.
you
It's
know,
mama.
and there's no, yeah, and it's mama. There's no love in this Campbell's chicken noodle or chicken and dumplings can. Yeah, I mean, I'll eat it if I'm hungry, but it ain't mama's. You know what I mean? So, like that. I don't know. Maybe that's a weird example, but
It's. I mean, I mean, it really is because like, you know, while you could learn to, like, kind of embrace what Mama was doing before, and that would be a lot of help.
yeah,
You don't know what Mama's catalyst was.
no,
Like, like Mama could have just been really, really smart about it, and maybe you're like, oh no, Mom wouldn't do that, but she did. So it's not gonna be that right kind of thing, and that's kind of what AI is. It gets it, but it doesn't get it. Like,
yeah,
you know, but again, like, I'm perfectly fine if someone's just like, oh, I wanted to do this silly, like, mashup for my Instagram video because I'm doing this silly dance. Yeah, sure. That's going to exist on the internet for all of like 72 hours, and then it's just going to sit in your profile.
yeah,
But if you're a bigger YouTuber and you're actively doing this, that, and the other as something that is like a main portion of your video, I mean, use stock footage, because then at least use like stock footage, stock videos, stock sounds, because then at least you're paying a subscription to a service of people that creates it for you.
100%.
And
absolutely.
like, while it may not be 100% exactly like, that person's wearing a yellow shirt as opposed to the pink one that I wanted, who cares?
Yeah, who
Just
Yeah,
say,
cares?
put a thing in Adobe Premiere that says this should be a pink shirt.
Yeah,
Or heck, take the stock footage and throw it into, like, Photoshop. Pink shirt.
pink
right.
shirt.
There's ways around it. Um, so I want to double back for just a second. So I do all of the editing here at Movement Radio. What program do you use, or programs, when you're doing your mixing with your audio and everything?
Pro Tools is my go-to.
Hmm.
And that's everything for recording, mixing, mastering, and I actually just bought Isotope RX11. Which one did I get? I think it was like the Pro one, and that one, it also provides a standalone application as opposed to plugins. So
Okay.
I'm still just like, ooh, new toy, let's play with that. Because in, let's say, like video games, for one, they, you need to have a certain loudness meter that's, a certain loudness for all the files to make sure everyone's the same. And when I'm batch editing, I can do most of that in Pro Tools. So I can very actively have my preset on like a compressor, and then set that compressor for like 1,000 files, and then just go bring, check my phone, wait around, bing bing. All right, it's done. Let's move on to the next thing. But the loudness meter, because it's so very specific, I can't do that. So I'm not gonna hand listen to 1,000 files, because that'll take forever. Um, the new RXs, I don't know if it's a new thing, but to me it's new. In the standalone program for RX, it has a batch processor that will do that. And I'm
Okay.
like, perfect. So, um, that's the only time I have gone out of Pro Tools lately to do editings.
Okay. Okay. I currently use DaVinci Resolve uh since we do video and audio.
Mhm.
And so
Well,
I
the cool
like
thing with
to.
like the DaVinci Resolve and things like, I mean, for my like video content that I've done, I use Adobe
Mhm.
Premiere. Well, I did, because until you know they
Yeah.
went stir crazy with all their stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but you can load in most of the plugins, like audio plugins. I think mostly for DaVinci, because DaVinci's a open source, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so you can get any VST plugin, and a lot of them are really good programming nowadays, and they're free. And if you're just like, oh wow, great compressor, great this, that, I can just use that now in DaVinci.
Yeah. I always like to dabble in other things. So I'm taking classes in DaVinci right now, but I like to see what other people are using just to be like, oh, well, maybe I should try this and it'll be a little better for me or whatnot. That's why I asked that question.
Um, yeah, like I've known people to do audio and video editing in one specific software. Um, if you ever are just doing like just the audio version and like don't want to do it in DaVinci, like luckily nowadays there's a lot of free and or very affordable like audio only DAWs.
Mhm.
Like Reaper is an open source multi-track um, recording DAW. So um, overall, it's free to use. They ask if you can like donate $60, and then it's a free it's a perpetual license for the rest of the time. And again, just like DaVinci, it's all open source. You can get like a whole. It also comes with a bunch of free plugins, which are awesome. And the learning curve on that is not that bad. And luckily nowadays too, a lot of people are doing tutorials online how to use it. Pro Tools has a free version online nowadays too. So if you're ever curious how the crazy people of audio, and it is,
Mhm.
like, Pro Tools is kind of like Mac to like everything else. They're just like, hey, we have this really cool tool. Everyone else is like, great, we had that like 5 years ago. Um, but yeah, I mean, having a plethora of tools is awesome for anyone who dabbles between video and audio. I think just because of the grandiose amount of things I have to deal with, sticking to Pro Tools as the industry standard people would have me stay with has been the best and easiest thing.
That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so uh let's kind of step away from the audio engineer portion of your life. Let's talk food. What got you into wanting to uh be a chef, be a cook? Where did that passion come from?
Uh, so big thing for me. Um, I am part Filipino, part Samoan,
Mm,
and that for one thing includes two things: a lot of family time and a lot of food. Uh, my mom, I was always in the kitchen with her, and I was always doing like the silly little kid things that they're just like, you can prep this so that I can finish fixing up all the rest of the food. Um, and then like grandma had taken a notice of me wanting to get more into cooking, so she would let me do this, then the other, um, but not a lot because grandmas are the ones that hold like their recipes tight. So if I wanted grandma's recipe, I was gonna have to reverse engineer that.
Uh,
um, but it really was mom. It was a mix of mom, grandma, and I am not paying $20 for a grilled cheese. What the hell are you talking about? I am a nightmare for friends to take to to new restaurants because I will just start egging on their menu.
mm.
Um, but it was pretty much that. It was a lot of I liked feeding my friends. I love dinner parties.
mm.
Um, I've actually done a bunch of dinner parties where it's literally just, hey, get your friends together, tell me what you want, and then I'll just make some food. Nobody helps you in the kitchen. You all just have fun, and then we'll all have dinner. And like, it's such a like, I love that. That's such a fun thing for me. Um, I had a lot of friends who had never had Hawaiian food in any way, shape, or form. And while I'm not Hawaiian, I was raised around a lot of Pacific Islanders, um, and I grew up not looking like a typical Filipino kid. Because a lot of Filipino kids that you kind of look at, they're slimmer, they're more athletic. But I took a lot of the Samoan gene to heart, and I was a big kid. So like the Hawaiian saw me next to my parents and just like, no, 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 they're not your family. We're your family. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome, man.
So spiritually, I'm very close to Hawaii. And their food's amazing. So I spend a lot of time researching their food lately. And a lot of people don't know. Like, where are you guys based out of?
Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Tennessee. Do you guys have a place called Hawaiian Brothers around you?
Uh,
Let me look it up.
I think we have one
It's either
near
like,
Atlanta, I
okay,
think, which is like hour and a half
okay.
away.
So there's this. So right now, one of them that is under fire. That it really deserves it. So there's a few Hawaiian grill places, but they use that term Hawaiian to really get people to come in. But it's these two guys from, I think, Delaware, who like visited Hawaii or like saw a picture of it, and it was just like, we know how to coin in on food, but their food is, you know super basic in the sense of just like, yeah, it's teriyaki, but teriyaki's not, you know, teriyaki's not Hawaiian. Teriyaki's not even Japanese. Teriyaki's American. Um, and they're in big trouble right now because they're trying to like trademark things like Aloha Spirit or things like that. The Aloha Spirit, in the sense of like, in a very general sense, is a very special thing. It's something that I've tried to live up to, and like live for myself, to help me become a better person. So when they're just like doing stuff like that, it's really rough on, especially like just like an ethnic person trying to just like actually give their culture to someone else and them just running away with it to the bank.
Mm.
So that's a big thing about my food, is I want someone, like I said, you guys come here, I will feed you, I will teach you about the food, where it comes from, why these things are done this way, so that you'll learn. You'll love it more, and maybe it'll feed your thirst to learn about other kind of food that you like. Like the hamburger, the American hamburger, has such a rich and beautiful history in America, and not only do they have like regional burgers like Whataburger, Hardee's to Carl's and White Castle and things like that, but they have hyper regional things to where each town has these amazingly different burgers for a specific reason. And you just wouldn't know that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm getting on a plane tonight. Like I'm, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and by the way, I did look up Hawaiian Brothers Island Grill. And I thought you were right, Chip, because I was thinking that there was one near Atlanta. It's not. The closest one to us is Edwardsville, Illinois.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's in the north.
Yeah. It is.
Ooh.
There I found there's actually two in Chicago. There's one in Columbia. I want to say that's Columbia, Missouri. Yeah. So there's one in Columbia, Missouri. There's two in Chicago, Florissant, Missouri. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Edwardsville, Illinois, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Those are the 6 that's closest to us at the moment.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So Geoff, what is your go-to dish? If somebody came to you and was like, I want you to make your signature, like, or somebody says, I want you to make your best dish, what's your go-to?
So I have two that I go for. One
Okay.
is more of the islander. One is a very American. The two cuisines that I love the most is like a American style stick to your ribs, and then Pacific Islander Asian style like their version of soul food. So anything that just makes you smile at the end.
Oh,
Yep.
So in the sense of the American style, my mom taught me this recipe when I was growing up. I don't know where she got it. I don't know where it came from. It was just something that was just like, that's really cool. It's a butterfly chicken breast. I substituted normal stuffing for cornbread stuffing. So I also then would add cornbread. So it's like the normal stuffing, but cornbread. I also have sweet corn in it and some cheese. Put that, wrap it in bacon, but then you bake it in cream of mushroom. But I also have friends who are allergic to cream of mushroom. If they're allergic to that, I'll do it in cream of chicken. You take it out, and then you cut it in like into you cut it like like a little sushi, so it looks like a little sushi piece, and then you just drizzle a little sauce on top. I call that the farmhouse roll.
oh,
Because then you
that
chicken,
sounds amazing.
It sounds really, really
pork,
good.
some other kind of meats. It's very good.
Yeah.
Then honey butter pepper roasted baby carrots, balsamic glazed asparagus, roasted asparagus, and a super rustic roasted God, what's that word? Mashed potato. I don't boil it so that I don't boil the potatoes so that the liquid content in the potatoes goes away. The water content's gone, and then I replace that with dairy.
Ooh.
So
Oh,
you can either roast it or you microwave it until it all steams away. So it's super dry. Then when you add in the butter and the cream or the milk, then that's what rehydrates everything and makes it super rich.
oh,
But I also will make it super rustic and just have it pretty mashed up. But I like chunks as well in that one.
yeah.
Then I'll have like Sometimes I'll do like a brown gravy, but a lot of people started liking more of like a country gravy on
Mm.
top of it.
Yeah.
So, um, then probably like a nicely dressed arugula salad, so you have some super freshness with the pepperiness of the arugula, with like a tangy, like citrus vinaigrette.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're speaking to my heart over
Man.
here.
I'm booking the flight now. What's Spirit at like right now? $2. Sit in the back row. All right, I'm good.
You better just watch out because that cloud strike thing is still happening.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
What was it like 26 hours to get to LA from here? It's a long drive. Hey,
Yeah.
man, and I thought the South was good, like because down here in the South, we're known for, barbecue, soul food, like good stuff. Especially like I don't know, it's like different regions of the country have that specific thing that they're known for. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like you go to Louisiana, jambalaya, crawfish pie, the good
Oh yeah.
Southern Cajun type. I love that. I ain't had crawfish pie. I couldn't tell you how long. You go to Philadelphia, what are they known for? The
The
cheesesteak.
cheesesteak.
You go to Chicago, deep dish pizza. You go to New York, they got the big New York style pizzas, and once you fold in half, and
Yeah.
you could use it as a you know cover for your car. They're that big. Uh, Memphis and Carolina both have great, but I personally like Memphis barbecue more than Carolina barbecue. I've never had authentic Kansas City barbecue yet. I want to so bad. And Texas, I gotta have Texas barbecue too. I mean, I've heard Texas so many great things about Texas barbecue, and I want to try it so bad. But it's like, oh, the sauce is what makes it. Like, oh, Memphis barbecue is more of a slow molasses type,
Yeah.
real thick, real saucy. Carolinas is more vinegar based, so
I
it's
love
very
the vinegar based.
I like it. I don't love it as much as the slow roasted, kind of molasses taste of Memphis barbecue. I'll still eat it.
I think
You
kind
know,
of like the Asian Pacific in me because we love vinegars.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like, but we also have, because like mostly you'll see like a white distilled vinegar. We never have that. We have a cane sugar vinegar
Ooh.
that
yeah.
I literally you just had I've made a dip out of it that is just that chilies and garlic. I could drink that.
Woo,
Yeah.
And I love
man.
garlic too.
Yes.
So tell me about Asian soul food. You were mentioning that
Yeah.
earlier.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like so with Hawaiian food, Polynesian food, I'm starting with Hawaiian first because then everybody mostly knows Hawaiian. People are still learning about the different islands of Polynesia, Melanesia, Micronesia, and as well as the South Pacific of Asia. Um, but like to kind of describe it, and put it in another plate of food. Um, Hawaiians have the plate lunch, which much like in the South where you have like, was it meat and veg like three or something like that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It'll be a protein, 2 scoops of white rice, and mac salad. And Hawaiian mac salad is light years difference than anything else you can find in a supermarket. It is some of the only times I've had people say that they will try macaroni salad, and it's not macaroni salad; it's mac salad.
Okay.
But my basic ones that I go for when I do dinner parties is it's called the local moco. It's white rice, a heavily seasoned burger patty, brown gravy, and a sunny side up egg.
Oh.
And I have done a breakfast version of that, where it uses instead of brown gravy, you'll have country gravy, and that one too is obscene.
Mm.
The way Asians and Islanders do short rib is different than any North American. Because on North Americans, when you think of short ribs, you think of braising, because it's that tough meat and needs to be cooked forever.
Mm-hmm.
But when you braise it, all the inner muscular fat goes away. and is replaced with, yeah, sure, you get a good jus, and then just a whole bunch of different flavors. With Hawaiian short rib, which is called you know how they have the Korean style short ribs with the three bones in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's called a flanken cut, or like an LA cut. Uh, they'll take a thick cut of that, like to like a half inch, even to like a whole inch, and it's marinated in a very simple like salt, sugar, maybe some garlic, but then they hang it in uh, in like you'll just hang it where there's a lot of airflow,
Hmm.
and because of that salt content in the soy sauce or the shoyu, it pulls out all the extra moisture in it, and will just dry it. They call it like speedy dry age, but it'll dry out the meat, and then you cook it. And the difference on a flat top grill when you cook something that is still has all that moisture to being dried out, it compacts that flavor and tenderness, and then just like crisps up with like a super juicy inside, and it's amazing.
Mm.
Um, I started making my own poke. Poke is a very, very decisive thing here, or divisive thing here, especially on the mainland. A lot of times you'll see it's just a deconstructed sushi bowl. You'll get fish, and they'll be like, "What kind of sauce do you want?" No, no, no. Poke was made in Hawaii by a Japanese man who wanted to save the fish in the deli for like another couple days. So he chops it up, he mixes it, and he marinates it so it has a couple extra days on the shelf, and it gets a second life. So you go to Hawaii, you go to any deli section, there will be rows of different kinds of poke with all different kinds of marinades. And that's all it is. There's no seaweed salad, corn, blah blah blah, kind of stuff like that. But I started making my own poke. I have two different kinds. One is a tuna, very traditional Hawaiian style, which is just tuna, shoyu, some dried seaweed, thinly sliced onions, and maybe like a couple other things. Super simple. Get that savory, sweet, the texture of the fish. And then I'll do like a spicy mayo salmon. And a friend actually had me add in mandarins to one of them. And just that extra little like sweet citrusy feel was a very uplifting taste, and I absolutely loved it.
Okay, what was that last thing you said? Sweet mayo salmon?
Yeah, a spicy mayo
Oh,
salmon.
spicy mayo, yeah.
Yeah.
With some merit.
Yeah, just little chunks of mandarin orange. Just toss that all in.
Oh, don't take this the wrong way, but I think I'm in love.
I am in love. What are you talking about?
Oh,
I did so, and a big thing. So you've like spam musubi has become a big thing lately. There's a Hawaiian it's a Chinese Hawaiian place that started in Hawaii called L&L Barbecue.
okay.
And they coined August 8th, which is 808, which is Hawaii's area code. That's Spam Musubi Day. So a lot of things for them. You go into the restaurant, you order, you also get a free Spam Musubi. Last year I did a pop-up here at the studio on 808 on Spam Musubi Day, and I made almost 150 musubi by myself.
Oh wow.
And just like was just like hanging out with friends all day, and a lot of them had never had spam in their life. And a big thing that I want to tell people, how people always think, oh, spam is just like, oh, it's gross. It's just like shavings of meat, just like preserved. No, spam is 6 ingredients nowadays: pork shoulder, salt, nitrates, sugar, potato starch and water.
Oh wow.
So lean meat and nothing else you wouldn't see in any other, like like in like a ham or some kind of like sausage.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's all it is. I mean, come on, people have scrapple. That's a lot worse than spam, I think.
I would agree. I would
Man,
agree.
I could not tell you how many times spam has saved my life. You know what I mean? Like going to the kitchen is like, man, what is there to eat? Like, hey, I got a can of spam. Okay, what am I gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the idea behind the food truck? Are you going to do mostly like Hawaiian Polynesian, or is it going to be a mixture of mainland and islander?
It's gonna be most it's starting off as Hawaiian because it's the most easily digestible for people. But then I want to add in like Samoan things, Tongan things, Fijian, Tahitian, just get people to understand the differences of and the vastness of the people who live in the Pacific,
Mhm.
because so much was developed with so little, honestly, just so little, and it's a pretty beautiful kind of cuisine. But then I want to do things like, you know, like Asian fusion things, like um, Koreans. Their idea of toast is one of the most amazing things in the world because it's just a hot like a hot sandwich. It's it's bread, this like a special sauce that's mayo based, ham, cheese, egg, cabbage, boom, toasted. It's amazing. What
Mm.
I did was basically take that, but Samoans love corned beef. A lot of people love corned beef. I love corned beef.
I
And
love
Yes.
corned beef.
I fried a patty of corned beef and put it into that sandwich. And gonna drop a name, but he doesn't care because if he ever argues that he did not love that sandwich, I will never stop haunting that man. I was doing a housewarming party, and Alejandro Saab was like, "Bro, I love the sandwich." And I'm like, "I know you do."
Oh, see,
And
you're gonna make me go cook after this. I love cooking as well. And
Yeah.
as soon as we're done, I'm going to the kitchen.
Yeah.
it's such a amazing thing, and again, goes back to the AI thing. What would you rather do? Just go to some uh, fast food place where it's gonna taste the same at every branch, or like, if the three of us cook the same dish, it's gonna be different because we maybe have a different idea of what what the ratios are, how the cooking process is, how it's even served. Like
Yeah.
maybe one of you guys are like, I don't really care for plating. I just know that it tastes good. You know, what if
Mm.
and one of us is just like, I'm all about plating. You guys can suck it.
Right. I did this a couple of years ago for my wife for Mother's Day. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make her dinner. I don't cook, but I'll try, right? So I found this website called tasty.com,
Yes.
and they had this three-course meal like that you can make, and it doesn't take that much ingredients and stuff. I ended up making her Tuscan chicken, and I I made it for her, and I used chicken because they told me to use chicken thighs, but I'm not really a big fan of chicken thighs as far as like, like me preparing them. Cause I mean, I could prepare like with, chicken tenderloin and stuff like that. Right. So long story short, I ended up making it for her. Right. And she swears up and down this day, I think she's embellishing a little bit, but she says up and down that it was the greatest chicken that she's ever had. Right. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to use this to my advantage. So about a year or so later, I bought all the ingredients. I made it for her again, and she was like, "Oh man, I love it. Thank you for making it for me." She was almost in tears. I'm like, "There's no way it's that good. I mean, I've eaten it. Like, there's no way it's that good." She said, "Talon, it's not the fact that it's good. It's the fact that you thought enough to make it for me, and you didn't even have to. That's why she loved it so much." And I was like, I gotta keep making it for you. Then if it's gonna make you feel this way, I gotta keep making it for you.
The
That's the only thing good in my life that I've cooked, apparently, because that's all I can do except for maybe a hot dog or something. I don't know.
And honestly, even then, it's not even hell. Like you make a good enough kind of hot dog with the right kind of dressings on it, and you'll have the same reaction because a lot of people will forget the emotional attachment to food and how
Yeah,
important it is. I'm a weightlifter, so I a lot of times forget about it because I eat for fuel. When I was getting ready for competition, I was eating 10 to 12,000 calories a day.
Woo!
I
That's a lot.
yeah.
the people at my Costco knew me by name. When you have to spend $400 to $500 a week on food for yourself,
Mm.
like that's just nuts. Um, but for one time in my life, a number of years ago, I was really short on money, and uh, I decided to only drink Soylent as my food source.
Ooh.
And this was back when Soylent was still a little newer. A lot of their different like pre-made ones hadn't come out yet, and it was their 1.4 formula. I don't know what they're on now, but I bought a whole bunch of that. It was super cheap, but it all filled out all my macros. I had, other than Soylent, a couple different fruits every now and then, and my protein powder and coffee. That's everything I ate for,
Wow.
Wow.
for 3 months. And it saved me a lot of money. It saved me a lot of time, saved me a lot of effort. But one day after I got paid for a big job, I was like, you know what? I want a meal for myself. Made a very simple Japanese curry, fried up a chicken thigh, put it on there. I ate it, and I cried in my kitchen. I wept because I forgot the emotional connection to food,
Yeah.
and it's insane. And it's like you said, it doesn't. It's like I don't understand why it's so great. It doesn't have to be great. Forget it. Great. I don't just like. And it goes with anything. Kind of even going back to the fact that we're most of the time, I'm sure you guys are talking about like voiceover with a bunch of people. It doesn't have to be the greatest AAA show in the world. I'll forever love Super Cub because it's still my like it has been my my phone background for years now because
Yeah.
it just means that much to me. And it's so awkward and beautiful, and every time I watch it, I'm just like, that's exactly what it needs to be. And yeah, man. Also, don't knock a good hot dog.
Hey, I'm not knocking no good hot dog at all. Oh no! Oh, my daughter came. My daughter came because we were making hot dogs a couple of weeks ago, and my daughter was like, "Daddy," for whatever she loves pickles, and she was like, "Hey, can you put a pickle on my hot dog?" And I'm like, "Put a pickle on your hot dog?" And I was like, and then my wife had to look at me, and she goes, "Like the Chicago dogs that you see at Sonic." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh yeah, yeah, I can do that for you, baby, no problem." And the fact that I brought her a hot dog that had a pickle on it, she thought I handed her gold. You know what I mean? She just loved it, and it's like she's gonna remember this for the rest of her life. You
Yeah.
know,
Uh, Speaking of hot dogs, how do you dress your hot dog?
I'm super simple, especially as of lately. I'm happy with just I'm happy with ketchup, mustard, and onions. But every now and then I'll just kind of go a little wacky, and I go to, I don't know if you guys have it, but a Doghouse.
No, we don't have one of those.
There's a place there's a place called Doghouse. All the hot dogs and burgers are served on King's Hawaiian bread.
I love King's Hawaiian bread.
And
I
that
love
makes
it.
it really good. But they'll have here. I'm gonna open. Let's see. Menu. There we go. So they have hot dogs, but then they also have sausages. And the
Hmm.
one that I always get for the sausages is, oh no, do I get the? I get the hot dog. They have a chill. They have a chili dog called Chili the Kid.
Oh, nice.
And
Nice.
It's a white American, house chili, crispy onions, and a chipotle aioli. I'm like,
Oh,
that's
Oh,
yeah.
mm,
Their burgers, they have one called the Hangover, which I obscenely love. It's white cheddar, smoked bacon, house chili, and a fried egg.
yes.
Um,
most people think I'm weird, like in my circle, because I like fried eggs on my burgers. And they're
it's
like,
so
yeah, they're like, why
it's
would
so
you do
good.
that? And I'm like, you just have to try it. Like get that. So when you bite into it, you get the little run of the egg yolk. Like, man,
Yeah.
it is amazing.
Yes.
But most of the people in my close circle are like, eh, I'll pass.
Yeah, the picky eaters are ones to really kind of like. It's hard to get through. There are a couple ones who, even though I would tell them whatever's in spam, they're just like, I can't do it. It looks like a piece of Play-Doh. I'm like,
Hey,
I get it.
hey, all you got to do is just cut it up in quarters, throw it in the frying pan, put salt, pepper, whatever you want to do on it. If you want to chop, my wife actually does it for, there was one time we had some hamburger helper, but we
Yes.
didn't get ham, but we forgot the hamburger meat. So we were like, well, what are we going to do? And my wife said, spam. And she pulled out 3 cans of spam, cubed them up, put it in there with it. And you couldn't you my kids ate it, so they couldn't tell the difference, but it
No.
was so good. It was so good, you know. Shoot,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll take spam, cube it up, put it with some cabbage and some salt and pepper. It's actually a play on a dish that Chip's mother made for us one time. It was an old Irish dish, but instead of I didn't have ham because it's like ham and cabbage and something else. I can't remember what the other thing that you put in it was. But I didn't have ham, so I threw spam in there. And I was like, yeah, that I'll eat this.
That sounds. Oh man. The funniest thing
Yeah.
was just thinking about that is, you think of the like one of the big typical Irish dishes is corned beef and cabbage.
Mhm.
Yep.
I completely forgot that Samoans also literally just like, yeah, we eat corned beef and cabbage. Why? I'm just like, hold on.
Yeah. That's like down south.
Yes.
It's like, wait, you eat biscuits and gravy? You
Yeah,
damn right I eat biscuits and
damn right.
gravy.
Yeah.
Shoot. Especially it's gotta be them grand fluffy biscuits. You know what I mean? So you open them up and the steam is rising. You're like, oh, it's like the angels as soon as the pearly gates open.
One of the things you just reminded me, and I need to do this now that I'm back on the mainland. I was going to do a Hawaiian version of biscuits and gravy because I bought
Mm.
taro flour. So the main one of the main staples of a lot of Polynesian and South Pacific people's diets was the taro root.
Mm.
There is a
Mhm.
farm in Hawaii that I found that makes it into flour. So I bought some taro flour. I'm gonna make the biscuits with that taro flour, but then with the country gravy instead of sausage, I'm gonna use Kahlua pork. Yeah, and I'm just like, that's gonna be insane because the last time I had Kahlua pork, it was a 24-hour slow cook,
Oh,
and it was in a slow cooker. I had it wrapped in banana leaves. I took it out. I slowly put it into a different pan. I took a wooden spoon. I stuck it inside and I just swirled it, and it fell apart.
Dude, last night I made a an unstuffed cabbage roll. Do you know what a cabbage roll is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did it a little different. I made the stuffing that goes in it, but instead of rolling it in the cabbage roll, um, I like chopped up the cabbage and then sauteed it and laid it on top. Dude, it was so
yeah.
good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was wondering, I was like, man, Chip's like, we got plenty of leftovers. Come get some. I'm like, okay, I gotta go to work in the morning. You know,
yeah.
you know,
But
but like Go ahead, Chip.
I like to do stuff like that where it's like you make something, you take like almost a traditional dish and then just tweak it a little bit, and kind of make it my own. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like with hot dogs, like what Chip was talking about a minute ago. Like, how do you dress your hot dog? And like, I do like, I don't know, maybe it's boring, but it's like I have to have mustard on my hot dog. I don't know why. Like, I don't really do mustard for like other things except for maybe corn dogs or something. But yeah, you would take it's mustard, um, and instead of a normal hot dog, I would do smoked sausage, and then I would put the chili, then I'd put the cheese, and if I feel spicy every once in a while, I'll put some spicy coleslaw on top of it. You know,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. My mom made some pretty damn good coleslaw. I can say that. And she would always like, I know it's not good as KFC. I'm like, no, it's better, Mama. Your coleslaw is better than KFC's, Mama. You know, and
Yeah.
I love KFC slaw, but
Yeah.
Mama slaw. You know,
Oh man.
Um, so I could talk all night food,
yes,
but
food,
I
yes.
wanna I don't want to keep you too long. But I want to talk a little bit about your strongman.
Yeah.
Uh, what got you into the strongman stuff, and what's your record?
So ever since high school, you join football and you go to the gym and you just you think you know what you're doing, but blah 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 blah. I was just always in the gym, and I grew up with Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and uh, it was always kind of funny because I'm just like, I only knew how to train like a bodybuilder, but I don't look like a bodybuilder. But it's the only way I knew how to train, and I was like, cool, I'm really healthy with this kind of workout. It's doing me really well. And one day, uh, I'm one day I'm with I go to a GNC with an X, and I see the most intimidating supplement can in the shop, and it was a brand called Animal,
Okay.
and it's a brand that I still use today. And their multivitamin was 12 pills, and they're just like, this is everything you need as a heavy weightlifter, as like an elite athlete, blah blah blah. And it is, it like those things have those animal packs have gotten me through conventions, road trips. Like, it's one of the reasons I'm like, I think taking animal pack was one of the reasons I just didn't die at a convention from like exhaustion and just not eating or drinking. uh but one of their athletes is a Hawaiian man named Grant Higa,
Hmm.
and he was the first Islander I had seen in strength sports. And I was like, I want to be like that guy. And that got me into powerlifting. Powerlifting is like an offshoot of Olympic lifting, but they focus on three lifts. I got a little bored of that, and then I saw a strongman thing, and it literally went from the elegance and grace of powerlifting to pick up stone, move stone. And any strongman competitor will joke around and be like, "Yeah, pick up heavy thing, move it." And I'm like, I like this because it takes a lot less brain power. Uh, and like I can only share the brain cell every now and then. So uh, I got into that, and here they have the LA Fit Expo every year, and I started going with friends and meeting the different lifters and doing this, that, and the other, and it was so much fun. The weightlifting community is honestly is one of the for me, with the people that I hang out with, one of the least toxic like fan groups like I've ever been around. I actually just recently, more or less, was just like, I don't know how much I want to try and actively pursue voice acting, and just stick on the production side because of there's a lot of toxicity not only in the industry but like in fandoms, and I'm just like, if I do or say one weird thing, I'm gonna be ousted as not the thing that I did, but someone's gonna make something up. They're all gonna believe it, and then next thing you know, it's just like, oh hey, I made a joke online about something, but next thing you know, I raped the Rock. I'm like,
Wow.
see, that's the thing. It's just like that sounds obscene, but he's a terrible person for doing it. But he didn't do it. I don't care. Someone on the internet said it. And I'm just
Yep.
like,
That's it, dude. That sounds just like the internet wrestling community. It really does.
but but for like strongman, they're
Yeah.
just like, hey, bro, what's your cycle? I'm staying natty for right now. That's cool. What are you doing? Oh, I'm taking A, B, and C. What's your dosage? They don't care. They'll talk about it. They're fine with it. I mean, heck, the amount of times I've walked into a gym, locker room, and someone's pinning themselves, and I'm just like, "Do you need help? Are you good?" Yeah, I've done it before, bro. Thank you. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, like as long as you're not like a dick in person, or like, again with like the left right kind of centrist things, you can
Hmm.
believe in what you want, but honestly, in the sense of being a public figure, keep it to yourself, because like fans are like completely different than you. They can be. Uh, and like I don't really care like who, what you believe in, as long as you like seem like a cool person in public, and most of them are these just amazing people. I wouldn't have an Instagram if it wasn't for a bodybuilder that I met at LAX, and then we started talking about the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, that happens every year, and he's just like, yeah, bro, that's how the fitness community stays in touch with each other, and that's why I have an Instagram.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you ever heard of a guy by the name of Joey Swole on TikTok who basically points out like, toxic behavior in gyms and stuff like that and tells people,
Yeah,
yo, you need to do better, mind your own
do
business.
better. Yeah, that is a huge thing. Gym acceptance is one of the biggest things that I have been an advocate for. Uh, and for one, to really spell out how, during the during the pandemic, during lockdown, I had spent about $8,000 to build out a home gym,
Hmm.
and I would have friends come over and I would train them for free to make sure that they got some sort of gym time during lockdown.
That's
That's
awesome,
awesome.
dude. Hell yeah.
And I'm just like, I tell people, do you want to learn how to go to the gym? Do you want to learn the basics before you join a gym? Come to my house. I will train you, and then like just buy me lunch. I don't. That's it. Like I don't care. If you want to be healthy, I will, I'll write up a program for you. I'll figure out your food. I'll figure out your macros, because that's gonna be beneficial for you. And like me helping out my friends makes me a better person and makes me feel better, makes me just happier. I don't need money for that. That's fine for me, cuz I know I'm donating my time. I know what my time is worth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh
I'm right there with you. One of my biggest, you talking about gym acceptance, and I don't go to the gym anymore. I do more like body weight exercises and stuff like that. And I wouldn't mind going to the gym, but especially like the few local gyms that we have here, they're all like quote unquote meatheads. Um, and like if you show up and like I've personally been made fun of for either A, not knowing like a certain technique, or B, not being able to lift a certain amount. And it has really kind of like pushed me away from all the local gyms.
which
Yeah.
I hate that, because normally the meatheads are the ones that are always just like, bro, you need help? Like, come on, let's do come over and ask. Like every meathead I know are some of the nicest, most just like decent people, and but there's another like the anti Joey Swole for me is a guy called Bradley Martin.
Yeah.
And his gym is not far from. I used to go to his gym and train some of my strongman events because he would have the equipment. But people would be like day passers. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can curse here.
No,
Yes,
go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go
Hey.
ahead.
We are all open.
This is
Yes.
like whatever. I'm lifting more than you. I've been here for 5 hours training. And Bradley knows me, and he doesn't care that I come in like twice a month. Like I have 3 other gyms that I go to. It's like why do you care that I'm a day passer? And like the only time I've ever been just like look at this guy is if someone's trying to ego lift more than me, then I fuck with them. But no, I hate that. I hate that for you, and I'm so sorry these guys did that. Normally, literally, some of the I've trained with literally world class. One of my friends is a former world's strongest man.
Oh wow!
And he is one of the nicest people I know.
His name's not Mark Henry, is it?
Somebody gonna get their ass kicked.
I wish. Oh my god, I want to meet Mark Henry. He's a guy named Martin Zlices. He was the 2019 World's Strongest Man. And
Yes.
I used to go over to the when he was training up in Thousand Oaks. I would always wear this T-shirt that says "Training to Beat All Might."
Nice.
And
Yes.
whenever we would do like a moving event, he would just start yelling at me. He's just like, "How do you expect to beat All Might if you can't beat me?" I'm just like, I hate you so much right now.
That is awesome. Awesome.
That
Hey.
is awesome.
Yeah. You had mentioned.
Place.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a loving place.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a living place. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not. But going back to the beginning of this podcast, where you had said something about you got the Black Album from Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still listen to rock and metal today? Has your music taste kind of changed over the course of the years? And what are you currently listening to today?
Thrash metal will always be my bread and butter.
Yeah, the Big Four.
The old Big Four. I will listen to old music from the Big Four.
Yeah.
If I was listening to more modern stuff from that era, Testament has been destroying it. Overkill has been obscene.
Yeah.
Annihilator. But thrash metal is my bread and butter. I'm actually producing an EP, and as well as a few other projects right now that have a lot of like that kind of like style music in it. But I love thrash, progressive metal, power metal. The one that I love the most is Devin Townsend.
No, the Devin Townsend Project. Yeah.
No, Devin Townsend's Ziltoid stuff.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
Ziltoid the Omniscient was done by just Devin Townsend, but then Dark Matters, which is Z2, was the Devin Townsend project, and those are such maniacally. They call him the mad scientist of metal for a reason.
Yeah.
And those albums carved who I am overall as a songwriter.
Yeah.
But
yeah, people give me a lot of grief because of the type of metal that I like to listen to. I'm a big fan of metalcore and deathcore bands. So anything like Whitechapel, Suicide Silence, heavy stuff like that. Like not full blown like extreme black metal, which I can't
I
listen to black metal.
love
I
the
can't.
shit the shittier production. Just hearing. I'm like, give it to me. I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but it's
So like,
powerful.
so you're like, okay, like Norwegian black metal, like the people burning the fucking churches over in Silo and all them places in Norway, like Gorgoroth and Dark Throne and all them bands. I'm just like, y'all are a bit too much, you know.
It's funny because those people behind the the corpse paint and the Satanism, they're just like, Bob, can you get milk? 2%. Ma. Okay, she didn't hear me.
Yeah. There's actually a movie about mayhem
Mayhem.
called
Yeah.
called Lords of Chaos.
Yeah.
And I watched it. It was on Hulu. I've watched it like several years. Macaulay Culkin's brother, Rory McCulkin. He plays does he play Dead or does he play Adronimus?
I think
I want he plays Adronimus in that movie. Yeah, but that was a very interesting movie. Yeah.
Yeah. True satanic black metal was forged from
Venom.
yeah. And it is. It's like places like that are so steeped heavily in religion that being the antithesis of it kind of meant ostracization from just the community. So I can see how it developed because the same thing happened with Black Sabbath. Like they grew up in a steel where they made steel in Britain, and Metallica was just a bunch of kids who were just like they were the odd guys out and they liked punk rock, and I was just like I like cheeseburgers.
Right. Right.
But like also things like that, like power metal is just Dungeons and Dragons, but music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Manowar.
Yeah. Hammerfall.
Hammerfall, yes. Anvil. Like,
Anvil.
yeah.
Oh my god, Anvil. It's just they're just they're like Fabio love stories. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's not Satan. It's like it's some guy in a dress going, "I love you." Just like, all right, great. This is perfect.
Right.
Or like Symphony X. Symphony X has been
Oh my
such a
goodness.
staple. And one thing that I actually I worked with Geek and Sundry for a while, and I did like some guest hosting with them. And one of the shows that we did was like diving into music, and they're like, "What is one of your go-to concept albums?" And one of them was Ziltoid the Omniscient. The other was The Odyssey. By Symphony X. That song from the album is a 24 almost 25-minute song that retells the entirety of the Odyssey.
Oh wow.
And is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard.
Man.
That's longer than that up.
Yeah, but say that's longer than some Tool songs.
Yeah.
And I love Tool,
It takes 4.5 minutes to get to the first verse.
Oh wow.
And
that's crazy.
It's you basically know. So it's funny. I've gone from listening to the track to watching the movie from the 1980s with Amar Nassan, which is a 3.5-hour movie. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the same thing. It's the same. 24 minutes, then the others, 3.5.
Yeah. You get the Reader's Digest version, or you can just watch it, Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But
perfect.
Those are yeah. And it's funny because there have been so many times where I try and add little also thinking about it as kind of going back to to voiceover, using musical notations to talk to my actors as a director gets it actually makes it easier to make them give a performance without me reading the line to them. Because one things I hate, I don't know if some people have brought it up, are line reads. And where it's just like, oh, there's a very specific way that I want this done, so he reads it as, "Why did you do that, Charlotte?" You know, it's just like, I hate doing line reads. So
Okay.
I will use I will use references to something, or I will use a musical sense of just like, oh, you know, you're doing this and it's here and it inflects this way. So it gives them a street it gives them a street to drive down, but that street also has different lanes. And it really keeps me out of their head, and honestly gets me some of the best performances that I could ask for as a director, because while sometimes the line read is important, I cannot stand them. I think it's a bit of a cop out, even though like sometimes it's just like the actor's just like, I don't know how you want me to do this. How do you want me to do this? But that's absolutely like the last straw. And it kind of keeps the creative flow of the session going. And it makes it
Which is,
honestly makes it more fun.
yeah, and then that creative flow is very important.
Yeah.
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 Like for one thing we did, and I'm sure you guys would get the joke. Like in Super Cub, Jackie Lastra is my main actress in there, and we ended up writing an entire B. We ended up ghost storying the whole show in our heads to be like a headcanon for us. And one of them is we turned it into a Christine situation.
Oh.
Oh.
And essentially it was just like she goes to get the motorcycle, and the old man is just like, yeah, it's only $100. It's only 10,000 yen because 3 people have died. And she's like, why the hell did 3 people die? I'm like, maybe it's like a Christine situation where the old man is the keeper and the car will go and kill the person, take their soul, and then just drive back to the old man, and the old man gets to like sell it again to make money to, you know, keep the shop going.
That sounds like a creepypasta, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, it legit reminds me of a creepypasta called The Girl in the Photograph. You ever heard that one?
Yes.
Yes, that one. If I'll give you guys the quick version of it. Basically, this kid finds a picture of a girl doing this. He takes it home with him. He's like, man, I want to find out who this girl is. I know she's on campus somewhere. I know she is. Hears a tap at his window. And I'm gonna give you guys the short version. He hears a tap at his window, so he goes outside to see what's going on. He doesn't pay attention. He gets hit by a car and dies. The driver gets out the car to obviously see what he did. He sees the picture in his hand. He looks at the picture, and the girl is still in the picture. Now she's holding up 3 fingers. Yeah. That is one of my favorite short story creepypastas.
That's crazy.
I love that one. No Wind House is obviously my number 1, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah. If you haven't read No Wind House, that's a really good one too.
Okay.
If you're into horror and creepypastas and stuff like that.
I like horror. I'm not. I grew out of hauntings.
Okay.
Because I saw, man, I've not been a very spiritual or like paranormally kind of person, but like in my 30s, like stuff started happening every now and then. I'm just like, I'm not risking this anymore.
He's like, nope, I'm out.
Yep.
The first time it was the first time I went to Hawaii, and you guys know what the witching hour is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I woke up every single morning, 3:30 on the dot.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't none of just like oh sleepy. woke up.
Yep.
And I looked at my phone, and the screen was on, and it said 3:30. And we had come to the decision because I was talking to some of my native friends there, and they're just like, it was absolutely spirits of natives there making sure that you weren't taking advantage of our land.
Oh wow.
They were checking in on you.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can believe it.
Yeah. And the
I
crazy
can
thing
believe
is,
it.
I went back and I knew what my purpose was. I knew exactly who I was going into there. I knew what this, that, and the other. Never woke up like anywhere around 3 o'clock. Slept through the night, and but I could feel I could feel the spiritual presence in and around still. But I'm just like, I'm not playing with this anymore. I've seen some stuff that I don't know how to, and heard. I've actually used some of the plugins to clean up audio, to clean up someone's a friend's haunting audio that he had.
Like weird
Oh,
white
wow.
noise or something like that.
Yeah, so he was going around this burial ground ages ago. I'm freaking out just thinking about this. But he had one of those little hand recorders, and he's going, and he checks it, and you just hear whoosh. I'm just like, what? And I turn it up, and you can hear someone go, guilty.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, oh, that's evil. So years go by, and then Waves comes out with this plugin called Clarity. And it's pretty much, if you're doing like a podcast in person or something like that, and there's a whole bunch of audio going around, it will take away all the other ambient noise. So I call my buddy. I'm like, do you still have that recording? He goes, of course I do. Send it to me. I put it through Clarity. I crank it up, and you just hear, guilty. I'm like, ah! I'm like, no!
I have done nothing.
Oh,
I
wow.
am guilty of nothing. No.
I print it, I send it to him, and I delete it from my system. You keep it. I don't need nobody following me home tonight.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. And he listened to it, and he's like, I am freaking out. I've never heard anything. I've never heard it this clear. And I love it and I hate it. I'm just like, good, because I just hate it.
Yeah, I just hate it. I don't ever want to hear that again.
Yeah.
I always mess with my kids and say, hey, when you go past the because we got this little gimmick that you pull, and it's a ladder going up to the attic.
Yeah.
And I always mess with my kids. I'm like, hey, y'all say hi to D-Wayne, And she's like, who's D-Wayne? But me and my wife, we've had to sage this house a couple of times. Because there was some time about, I would say around 2021, because we were still in the middle of the pandemic. We had just bought this house, and my sister-in-law and her son were staying with us at the time, and he went back down to where they originally lived. He was staying with a buddy of his, and they were in the living room, and she audibly heard, "Hey, Mom, can you come here?" Like as clear as that. And she was like, she called, she's like, Austin, where are you? And he goes, I'm here in Jasper. Why? She hung up the phone so quick, and then he tried calling her back, and he couldn't answer. So now he thinks something's wrong. So that was an ordeal. The whole time yeah.
No.
We entertain angels unaware. So, yes, we do.
So Geoff, don't want to take up too much of your time. We've been here for almost 2 hours now, and it's been very enlightening. I've learned so much, and I
Yes.
definitely want to double back and do a part 2 at some point, if you would be down.
Yeah, you guys is great. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
So if anybody wanted to follow your shenanigans of powerlifting or pictures of the food that you make or whatnot, where would they go?
I am pretty active on Twitter/X and Instagram. Twitter is a lot of a mix of voiceover and food stuff,
Hmm.
and that is just Geoff Bisente. Same thing for Instagram. Instagram is a bit more is a bit more of music and weightlifting. Um, but for I think a big thing that people tend to have been following me for lately is during the pandemic, myself, Eddie Correa Jr., Ben Diskin, and we put together this work from home packet for people who are content creators, mainly for voice actors, to get a good home working, a good work from home setup
Mm,
without
okay.
breaking the bank. So, like, people like me understand what a commercial piece of equipment is and what a consumer level piece of equipment is, and how can you kind of work in between those to be able to work from home. So because of an incident that happened at the top of the pandemic, we made sure that this product was not only constantly kept up to date but is free for everybody to use.
Mm.
It actually as well has a video stream of us breaking down the entire thing. So we talk about acoustics, we talk about hardware, software, booths to use, like acoustic dampening, the different kind of mics you can use, like that. Move this. Oh, so this is Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan, you got no
Yeah, got no
legs.
legs. he, he
And they
was
kick it real fast like this. Yeah.
yeah, the difference between a dynamic mic and a condenser mic, what the differences between all of them, what is a good one to use for in studio stuff, and what we really don't recommend. Um, all that is a free resource, and a lot of people like to depend on it. I'm actually also updating it now with like there's a new brand, not new, but there's a newer brand called Lewitt that has been out. This is an interface. This is an
Hmm.
audio interface.
Oh wow.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah,
That's
crazy,
a
right? Yeah,
crazy
it's
looking audio interface.
yeah, super simple. One plug in, one for guitar, speakers, USB-C, but is what is super affordable but sounds really good.
Mhm.
So I'm lucky enough that my boss is sponsored with Lewitt, so they sent us this for free, and I'm
Oh,
gonna be
awesome.
demoing it and adding it onto the pamphlet because, like, when I heard it before, it was really good. So it's like things that cost like $200 or less that you can use for the studio, and have like a setup that will be able to work in a professional environment, and why
Awesome.
it's different from like using the Scarlet Solos or the Scarlet whatever Scarlet line from Focusrite,
Yeah.
um, because that's one brand of things that I tell people never to really buy if you're trying to work from home professionally.
The
Uh,
Focusrite.
yeah, the Scarlets, the there are a couple things above it that are better, but it's just how they're built. It's not
Hmm.
really meant for the dynamics of voiceover. But like people are like, why? And we explain why. Um, um, but that like pinned on my tweet on my tweets is that, and I think that's that, and then I run classes like voice acting classes from the studio as well. So anybody really wanting to peek into the world of voiceover, I teach classes like that, and you can get contact me through there. Um, but yeah, like the silly stuff is more the Instagram, and that's all at Geoff Bisente.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Uh
We will link that in the description below for sure.
Awesome.
yeah, everything will be linked below. I guess one last question. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to be a voice actor?
The most important thing uh, is to understand that it's not just silly voices. Uh, If you think that because you can do a silly voice or imitate somebody, that it's gonna work out for you, that is an absolute no. Actor is the job, and acting is what I need from you. I'm looking at my phone because I'm gonna make a point for it. People are always saying just like, yo, I have this or I have that, or oh guys, did you know that I have a really great so and so impression? And I was like, great. There's his phone number. Why do I need you?
Mm.
And they're just like, it's like, I don't care about your voice. I don't care about your voice doing his voice. I care about your voice and the quality of it. So, being an actor is very important. A lot of people really judge, like, it's like, I don't need to take classes. You really do, because as someone who isn't trained as an actor but still pursues acting, I have a disadvantage in one way, shape, or form, because I haven't actively done classes, but I've learned through mitosis of all the experience I've had in the 15 years I've been doing this. I've had people very actively be like, I don't need this, I don't need that, I just know that I'm good. Do you? Do you? You don't. Because you know, if you do this, if you get into this because you want to be famous, or you want to go to conventions or this, that, and the other, it's not for you. I'm sorry, it's not for you.
Yeah.
People do this for the art because they have a voice that they need to express. Learning improv. Gosh, having a strong sense of improvisation is so important. It's honestly not even a funny thing to talk about, because when you're in a session, there's a difference between, like in a video game session, we ask for 1 to 3 takes. We call it single takes, an A and a B, or an A, B, and C. If we ask you to give ABCs for 500 lines, but you only give us 3 reads again and again and again for those 500 lines, you're not going to be worth anything to us. You need to make it all seem contextually correct, creative as a character, fresh. So if you can't think on your feet, and you can't bring out what's in your head through your mouth, why are you here? Why do you think you can do this? Oh, because my aunt says I sound really cool as Pink Panther. Who voice? Okay, yeah. It was like the last time your grandma watched something. It was Hong Kong Phooey, and nobody voices that anymore.
Right.
I love Hong Kong Phooey.
I love
Hong Kong Phooey.
Hong Kong
Kong
Phooey.
Phooey. We're getting canceled.
Verific.
Sorry.
We
That's my cheap imitation. I apologize.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
But those kind of things are super important. I've had so many people, especially during lockdown, again, going back to it, because it was one of the reasons why I got back onto Twitter, where people like, I want to get into voiceover. How do I make a demo? I'm like, honey, you don't. A demo's a calling card, and you can't provide me with anything if you have no experience or knowledge. And a demo's supposed to last you years, because it is literally just it's an amalgamation of you. You're not supposed to change it every year. If you have the ability to, and it doesn't really cost you anything because you tend to do it yourself, sure, but not everybody has that. And same thing for the hardware. People are just like, well, how come I can't just use this instead of the mic that costs $3,500, because these are all built differently and they have different they're all, the EQ within the mics are all different. They have different settings, different needs for this, that, and the other, and they react differently to everybody's voice. Do you know? Like, I know why the Neumann U87 has been like one of the most widely used microphones, is because it was pre-programmed to cut through a mix, because it has a bump in the mid highs so that you can hear it clearer than other microphones.
Mm.
That's why. Does that mean it's great for voiceover? No, because having that bump in the mid highs for the voice is actually not what you want. Because it sounds pre-mixed. But people don't think that. They think they see like a microphone that they got at Best Buy is gonna, be the best thing in their life. It's really not. And it's like, I promise you. But the problem is they spent their money on it, so I'm wrong. Even though I've handled more audio hardware than some of these kids have ever seen in their life.
Right.
I've done shootouts for microphones that cost $60 to ones that cost $16,000.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you what, sometimes it's hard to notice. Sometimes it's really easy to notice. Sometimes, like, getting one of these like tube mics plugged into the right places to get it working is harder to do than like breaking into a safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they don't know these things, but they think they do because they like spelled Google once correctly in their life.
Ooh. Spicy.
It is. And you know what? That is me on Twitter, period. I'm spicy because I don't want you to like, I waded through the bullshit so that you don't have to. If somebody has a question about things, then it's just like, yes, please ask me, because I don't want you spending your hard-earned money on some like cheap shit thing on Temu because it looks like the microphone that like D. Bradley Baker uses at home.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when Temu, I get these advertisements all the time, and it's this microphone that looks like the Shure SM7B, but it's not the Shure SM7B.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
sounds just the same. No, it doesn't.
it really
No.
You're
does.
selling me a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, I've had this microphone probably for about 3 years now, and it's just a blue snowball,
Yeah.
but it works. It works for me, until I can, earn enough money to, either upgrade to the next whatever snowball is or get a completely different brand altogether. But when you go back and you rewatch the video, like, I'm gonna hear a difference in the way this microphone sounds and another microphone sounds, because it's two completely separate items in a sense.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you brought up Jim, you brought up the SM7. I've had this SM7 since 2010.
Mhm.
It's one of the only mics that I know has gone up in value since I got it, because these retail for 400 nowadays.
Yes.
Ooh,
I got this for 2.
wow,
Yeah.
that's
it-
crazy.
in my research, I'm currently saving for an SM7, just because it's kind of known as the quote unquote industry standard when it comes to podcasting.
It is
Um,
a beautiful microphone too.
and so currently I'm using the Elgato Wave,
Mhm.
which is here, um,
Mhm.
which isn't terrible, um, but I know Shure just released a new microphone. It's the MV7 Plus.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
was thinking.
yes, and it's a cheaper version of the SM7B. The difference is you can it has two different inputs. You can either do an XLR input or a USB-C input.
Yeah, and
So
it
you
also
can
has. It looks like it also. I think this is the one that also has a built-in preamp that adds in. Because right now I'm also running through a cloud lifter, which is an
okay.
extra $150, but that makes this thing like a
Mm,
lethal weapon.
yes.
Um, but on top of that as well, like honestly, even that sense, like the Rode Pod mic, holy shit, that thing sounds good.
It does.
Mhm.
Like, and
It
for
does.
$100,
Ow.
Yeah. So
uh, yeah, it's. But this thing is, this thing could stop a tank. So yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's those are two of my passions. Like audio technology and food. You will have me here all night.
Yes. Yes.
Uh
Um, I said one last question, but I'll throw
absolutely.
another question to you. Without breaking any NDAs, what you got coming up in the future?
I am happily still. So our Studio Central Command is one of the main satellite studios that works with Crunchyroll to record LA-based talent for the Texas productions. Um, I get to work with them on whatever shows they cast out here. Uh, so some of that keeps me busy. Uh, I have a video game that is prepping to come through. That is one of the bigger video games I've worked on in the past few years, and I'm looking forward to that. Um, on personal levels, I have one, two, three different EPs with three different groups were being finished up right now. Um, and yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I have coming up in the future. A lot of the times whenever it comes out with the Crunchyroll stuff, um, they will mainly credit in-house people.
mhm.
So they won't often they'll often, because all those departments are also um, very distant from each other because it's such a big company. So I can't blame them for just like not keeping track of everything that happens. But like I said before, like yeah, the IMDb really only has a fraction of all the things that I've done,
Yeah.
um, and so whenever like these cast announcements come up, like oh yeah, it's like yeah, I worked on that, but they just they had their in-house engineer mainly just add it on, and I'm just like I get it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but like a lot of times now, it's just like you just won't see. It's kind of like I become like a ghost engineer. It's like you won't see me, but I did a lot of work behind the scenes.
Right.
Well,
Right.
and so from talking to you over the course of this conversation, I won't call it an interview, we'll call it a conversation. Um, it's it doesn't feel like you're doing it for the fame and notoriety per se. It's you do it for the passion and love of what you do. So
Yeah,
you don't really I get the sense that you don't really, you know,
I like
care if they credit you to a degree.
yes, that's exactly it. I love to know that I'm recognized in the long run
Hmm.
for the productions that I work on, but I'm not aiming to have like James Wong level credits, like and be like these. I have to make sure that all my credits are listed because there's not even just anime, but video games and like TVs and movies. I just haven't been like they just the credits just not added in. I'm just like, why didn't you guys do that? And they're like, oh gosh, we're so sorry. And it just like it gets fixed in one way, but it doesn't get to the other platforms. And I'm just like, at least it's fixed and it's now exists in the world.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Like if there's one thing, I love my actors. I love my actors. I love my productions. I love the people that I work with. And as long as they get, I can give the clients their best. That's what matters to me. Because I'm a consumer. I grew up with this. You guys grew up with this. I don't want I don't want like a half-ass read going out to the audience because they're gonna know and they're
Yeah.
gonna talk about it, and then there's gonna be less trust for the English side of voiceover, and there's already there's already always been a dwindled amount of trust in the English side of voiceover, even though we do so much work, but it's never good enough.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I rewrote I rewrote 3 episodes in 6 days while casting, while working on other shows, while getting those sessions for those episodes put together, while handling other things here at the studio, and I got it done. And no one's ever gonna care more than going, "Oh, that's really cool that you were able to do that."
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just like, you know, if I was some I hate this word. If I was some clout chasing dickhead, then yeah, like it'd be different. But I don't care. I know
Yeah.
I got my show done, and I showed the people who entrusted me with this that I can get it done in this time frame by myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
And in the end, that's kind of who matters. Like, you can do it. They know you can do it.
yeah.
And that trust you then build upon it because you were able to do it. And now they will entrust you. Okay, we know he can do it. Here's this new project.
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
call Jeff because we know he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done in a timely manner, and he's going to get it done correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And fame, for the most part, I mean, let's be honest, fame and $5 will still get you something at Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though
yep.
it's super mid coffee, he still gets you something.
Like I just recently got a convention agent. And the only reason I want to go to conventions, okay, there's two reasons.
Okay.
One, because I would love to travel and see different places, even if it's just for like a weekend. I'd love to be able to see different parts of the country, uh,
Right.
and even beyond. But online, I've talked to a bunch of kids, and they're just like, we love the actors, but we would love to hear more about the production side. And even though I hear a lot of the fans talking about it, there's still more people above them, meaning like the people who put together the conventions, other agents, other things like that, who just don't see my worth in this, and so they're just like, no, we don't think you're worth marketing. Oh no, no one's gonna want to see you or talk to you. You're not gonna bring anything to the convention. It's just like, if my job didn't exist, you wouldn't have conventions because the
Right.
animes wouldn't be there. The video
Right.
games wouldn't be there. Like, you wouldn't have these actors that are just like, did you hear me? Because no, they didn't hear you because no one recorded you.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You
And
know,
it's not like, and it's, but, and also at the same time, it's not like you don't have, you know, credits to I mean, you did
yeah,
Solo Leveling, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Which is
yeah,
one of the better animes of 2024 so far,
yeah.
you know?
Funny thing too is like, and this is such a fun thing on my end. I'm so blessed to have like voiced things in Solo Leveling, voiced things in One Piece. I got to work on Pokemon, the show, um, and like all these different things like Dragon Ball, My Hero, Chainsaw Man, like you
Mhm.
said, Trigun, Fairy Tale, all these things. I got to work on those either as an actor or as an engineer, and the ones I got to work on as an actor, a lot of them, those roles were given to me, uh, and I'm so thankful, so blessed. Like for solo leveling, we did the game months before the show came out. When I found out there was a show, I'm just like, uh oh, I might have to dub a character.
Right?
Right.
And there you go.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's great. There was one time when the first two episodes came out of that, my character Jung Ho, in the first dungeon, is holding Alex's character, and he throws him on the ground and runs out of the dungeon.
Yep.
And I had posted that, and I just went, "Sorry, at Alex Lee," and he's like, "Bro, that was you? What the heck?" I'm like, "Every hunter for themselves."
Oh, that is awesome.
Alex,
Getting that extra side of it is so fun. And Alex too was just like, "Bro, was this our first production that we did together?" I'm like, "It's not, dude. You were a lead in one of my shows during lockdown. Could you forget that?" It's just like, "Whoa, I don't know. My bad."
I don't know.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Never mind.
What was that?
You said Alex Lee, and I'm like, where do I remember seeing that name Alex Lee before? He's the voice of Zenitsu in Demon Slayer.
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, that's where I remember that
And,
name from. Okay.
I've not. I couldn't get into Demon Slayer. I think also because I'm such a what's that word? I I like slice of life way too much. Like
Yeah.
Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is like my go-to.
Yeah.
Who is-
So we kind of mentioned this previously when you were talking about like the anime that got you into anime.
yeah.
I have one that I don't think the one anime that like was the very first one I watched and was like, oh, what's this? Where do I find more? Was Ranma and a Half.
Yeah.
And I love the original so much. And I just found out they're doing a remake.
That's right. Yeah. 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 Oh my God. I missed Ranma 1/2. Oh wow, you unlocked a new memory for me too of like, it's not the anime that got me into it. It was the manga that got me interested in just more Japanese art.
Mm.
Was Love Hina,
Mhm.
and I'm just like I get what it is. Like now I get what it is, but like back then I'm just like, this is like such a silly story, and I like it. And it was one of those things also that got me into more reading because I'm not a big reader.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's crazy. Also, what was I thinking? Because we brought up Demon Slayer. So the voice for the character who did Gyutaro, um, Brandon McInnes. So
Mm.
one day,
Yes.
he texted me, and he was just like, "Hey, the new Attack on Titan theme song just dropped. Do you want to cover it with me?" And I'm just like, "Oh gosh, what are you talking about?" And he sends it to me, and I look at it, and I go, "Oh, this is great. I can make this sound so much better." So,
Maybe that's what he was saying, kind of quasi like, hey man, you want to help me with this real quick?
so yeah, we did a cover of The Rumbling together,
Okay.
and I love it. It is genuinely one of my like. I just had so much fun doing it. So if you guys hadn't checked it out, like it's such a fun thing because we even recorded it. We did a music video and recorded it here at the studio. Bing bong. So, chat. I just kind of throw that in the chat box for you.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, nice. Appreciate it.
And in like the bridge section is like I got to record one of my favorite screams, and it'll like it's so guttural and monstrous. It's I love it.
I'm gonna have to jig it. I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah,
I'll go check it out. Yes.
check that out.
Was that it?
Yeah, it was a little too in my ears. I just
Yeah.
loud.
That kind of scared the shit out of me a little bit, man. I think a lot.
But it was actually so cool because as we were recording it, the lights in the studio are very warm, and so I got a very red look to my face and everything like that. And I was telling Brandon, I'm like, you need to have all your light temperatures very cool, so it has a very like light and dark thing with it, and it all came out so cool. And I feel bad it didn't get as much traction as I thought it was going to, but like I'm super proud of it and I love it.
I mean, it's got 4,500 views, so
Yeah, but I guess compared to like some of the other covers,
well,
I
that's true.
I'm just like, oh,
Yeah. So Geoff, we were once told that the greatest gift that you can share with another person is your time, and we greatly appreciate you sharing your time with us this evening.
I had so much fun, guys. This was really great, and yeah, I honestly, when you said it's been 2 hours, it has not felt like it.
No, it hasn't.
If I hadn't have looked at like the ticker, I wouldn't have thought that we were like conversing that long. It really feels like I'm just hanging out with like one of my close friends, and you just kind of get lost in the motions of what's going on, and just reminiscing and catching up with, that buddy that you hadn't seen in forever.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it not feeling like you said, it's not really an interview. It's very much a conversation.
Yeah.
And like I've done a couple different interviews where it feels like someone's just kind of like going down the list, and they know what they're doing, but there's not a lot of life in it, and I'm just like,
yeah.
How did you enjoy your role in the latest film that you just did?
It's like, it was so much fun, and I enjoyed the time that I did for
Yeah.
the role.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you want to hang out with us for just one more second while we pay a couple of bills, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Geoff, once again, we thank you. Chip, anything you want to say before we bounce this evening?
Please do not leave without leaving a like, comment, share, and subscribe on Spotify and right here on YouTube.
We want to thank all of you guys for all the love and support you guys have been giving us. And if you want to continue to support Movement Radio, make sure you check out streamlabs.com/Movement Radio /merch and go copy some merch. Our My Hero Academia inspired shirt, our Dragon Ball Z inspired shirt, the old school logo, the new school logo, and a couple of other ideas we got planned for the future. Just be on the lookout for that. Again, Geoff, thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm Talon Williams.
I'm Chip Hazard.
I'm Geoff
and
Bisente.
this is Movement Radio.
God bless.